get control here. And now they're building up a giant military against us and militarizing the police. And the public knows it, so they're buying 5, 6, 7 million guns a month. The corporate media is trying to hype up a race war right now, publicly issuing fake edited audio of Zimmerman, Justice Department hyping it, the Attorney General, the same guy caught shipping guns into Mexico, drugs back into the U.S., speaks to the Al Sharpton group today, basically hyping it up, saying they may go arrest Zimmerman. Our word is from Patrick Henningsen, who talked to folks in the prosecutor's office, and now I heard rumblings of it this morning on Fox Radio, that in the next 72 hours, they're going to announce a big announcement. They got to get the police ready. Zimmerman's been told just get out of town, and that they're not going to be indicting Zimmerman because there's 4 witnesses that Trayvon Martin was on top of him, beating him, including 2 of them are black. You never see that on the news. I saw it one time on ABC News, the black neighbor going, yeah, I saw the guy in the hoodie, the gray hoodie on top, the other guy in the red shirt, punching him. The system has just chosen this now to get everybody fighting with each other so government can play the part of the referee. Order out of chaos. Destabilization. Meanwhile, they're fighting to keep Reactor 4 from completely melting down and blowing up and spewing out more radiation than it already has. One deadly isotope alone, cesium, or is it cesium-137, it would be estimated to be at least 85 times the amount put out by Chernobyl, which the UN says killed over 1 million people since 1986 and created giant dead zones. And again, where's the wind go? Right across the Pacific into the United States, the West Coast. The divine wind, the kamikaze, it blows across China and then across Japan out to the Pacific. That's where the word kamikaze comes from. There was a Chinese invasion. You can look it up. I forget how many thousands of years ago. Guys, look up Chinese invasion of Japan. Chinese naval invasion of Japan destroyed by typhoon. Give me the year and the dynasty. I forget the names. And that's why they called their pilots flying into our ships the kamikaze. Just a little historical factoid was here's this giant fleet. I think it was Kublai Khan, wasn't it? He'd already taken over most of Asia, and there were thousands of ships about to land. They outnumbered the samurai over 100 to 1, and here came a typhoon right over Japan, destroying the fleet. They've now found the remains of the ships. Mongol invasion of Japan. The Mongol invasion of Japan of 1274, that's like 800 years ago, to 1281, were major military efforts undertaken by Kublai Khan, my memory serves, to conquer the Japanese islands after the submission of Korea to vassal serfdom. That's us under the bankers. We are vassal serfs of Goldman Sachs through full fraud. The minute you wake up to that and recognize the national security state, Homeland Security, is the criminal receivership takeover arm, is the minute you begin to regain the liberty of the 1776 Republic. Anyways, continuing. Let's go back to it. Despite their ultimate failure, the invasion attempts are the, can't even read that from this distance, macro-historical importance, yeah, because they set a limit on Mongol expansion and rank a nation-defining events in Japanese history. The Japanese were successful in part because the Mongols lost up to 75% of their troops and supplies both times on the ocean as a result of major storms. The invasions are referred to in many works of fiction and are the earliest events of which the word kamikaze or divine wind is widely used. With the expectation of the occupation of Japan at the end of World War II, that was a divine wind of firebombs. These failed invasions attempts are the closest Japan has come to being conquered by a foreign power in the last 1,500 years. Okay, thank you. I'll go to your calls now. The point is that divine wind is blowing scores of radioactive goodies, plutonium, uranium, because even though those are heavy elements, they're getting caught on spiders and spider webs and bug parts and pieces of lint. Because you know you go up in the upper atmosphere, it's just filled fact, they found multi-thousand-year-old bugs at 50,000 feet. You can look this up. They fly around universities with aircraft with big scoops on the front of the plane, and it just scoops up. I don't want to exaggerate, but in some cases, really old stuff, and a lot more than a few thousand years. Look it up for yourself. I could do that. We don't have time for any more factoiding. And the point is, there's all these light things. You ever seen a piece of paper? Ever seen a shopping bag in the sky like a kite and it just keeps going? Well, there are billions of things every year from Japan, that's a conservative number, that blow across and land over here. That's why they used their own primitive drones, firebomb blimps and firebomb balloons they would send over to try to start wildfires in the United States during World War II. Wasn't like the V1 or V6 of the Germans that they rained down on England. But you're getting a bird's eye view into my brain. I'm just constantly thinking about different data. Just love information. And got all this other incredible news. I haven't even scratched the surface yet. Quake off Indonesia triggers tsunami alert. But thank God it did not cause a big tsunami that could have drenched the island nation of Indonesia or Sumatra, for that matter, or even hit some of the other surrounding countries. Millions breathe sigh of relief after tsunami alert is looked at following double quake that spread panic from Indonesia to India. Let's go ahead and go to some phone calls here. Let's talk to Carol in Oregon. Go ahead.
Hello there, my big brother.
How you doing, buddy? Big brother, wow.
Little big brother.
I think you're watching and listening to me. I'm not watching you, but I hear you, my friend.
No, God bless you today, Alex. It's strange how God answers prayers. Just a few months ago, I was thinking, boy, Alex looks like he's gone through so much stress that he's put on a lot of weight. And I thought, I'm just going to pray for him that he's able to continue this fight, keep on going. And sure enough, you had this gentleman come by the name of Ben Fuchs that introduced these products to you. And sure enough, the answer. It's strange how God just answers prayers like that.
To be clear, it was Ted Anderson and Michael Zwirling a year and a half ago told me I ought to get on the longevity stuff. And then I got it, knew it was good, but never really did it full time. It had a little bit of an effect. And then Aaron Dykes started listening to Ben Fuchs on Genesis and started actually following it and hearing the interviews. And he's now lost exactly 90 pounds, he was telling me last week.
It is unbelievable. He looks like a college prep.
I tell you, he is something else.
Yeah, let me tell you about my story that I had, because you were speaking a couple of days ago about the damages and the problems that you have with SSRIs. I have my own personal horror story, the damages that I got.
Sure, just to recap, I was mentioning that the guy that had no criminal record, computer programmer, who was acting strangely out of his mind, he was on one of the psychotropics known to be particularly bad to cause this, Xanax. And same thing with the guy that shot the 18 people over in Iraq. And I'm not saying they shouldn't get in some trouble, but the point is they're on a hallucinogenic, mind-altering substance that causes chemical imbalances. It's on the insert. So they're all asking, why is this happening? We know why. Go ahead.
I took the medication that you mentioned, not Xanax, not Prozac. I didn't have problems with those, but I had a bit of a depressionary phase for a while, and I took the medication called Paxil. And with Paxil, at first with the initial side effects or the strange direct effects, whatever you want to call it, you have this kind of a tingling feeling down in your lower abdomen and groin. You have your mandible jitters, like you've got the chills. That goes away. No,
I'll be honest. I've never been a drug user, but I have tried things a few times. I had a girlfriend who was on one of those Prozac drugs. This is back when I was right out of high school, and for a couple off and on, because she said, "Oh, it'll take a few weeks for you to feel it." I felt it, and it was not placebo. I took it for like a week just to see what it was, because I thought she was acting weird, and my jaw felt weird. I felt crazy. I felt like I was disconnected somehow in my brain. It felt really weird. You ever kind of woken up and feel kind of strange? That's what I felt like. And now that I know scientifically what it does, it puts you in a dream-like state. So you're like in a dreaming state. And then as you get on more of it and stuff, I mean, it's just, it says on the insert, causes you to commit mass murder and suicide. Stay there. I want to hear more about it.
And a fella to the promised land, Big John.
All right, let's go back to Carl in Oregon. So, Carl, you're saying you went on one of these psychotropic drugs. They're all basically the same formula. And what did it do to you?
Okay, let me tell you about my account with it. It was because I had another medication that I had just a terrible reaction to that caused panic and anxiety. So they put me on a medication, say, try this is brand new, it's called Paxil. Okay, so I took the medication, and as I mentioned, the early side effects or direct effects is actually what they really are. Is you had a jittering jaw, kind of a strange lower abdomen tingle. It goes away in a couple of weeks, and then all of a sudden you find you're feeling maybe just a little bit goofy, and you start laughing for no reason at certain things, or saying things or inappropriate things to people that you would never do before.
Yeah, I felt like the few times when I was a child and was sleepwalking, one time I got up at about 5 a.m., and my dad heard me yelling, I've got to catch the school bus, because I had to walk about a quarter mile to get to the school bus. And so I was running down the street in my underwear at like 5 a.m., and my dad heard me and had to chase me. And I remember him waking me up, and I, for like 5 minutes, felt dazed. That's what they do. They put you into that semi-dream state. That's what these are. And that, I mean, that's on the insert. That's what they do. These people are in a mesmerized zombie state on average. Some people can handle it, but I mean, it's on the insert. Everybody has their horror stories, but it's not like it's our opinion. And in every case, I mean, I never see a case where somebody randomly for no reason just shoots a cop. They're always on this stuff. This military guy, they won't release it, but psychiatrists are on record saying that he was in treatment and that anyone in that treatment for PTSD would have been prescribed this, but they're not releasing that because they never want to blame the drug, because they just want to prosecute these people and send them to jail, and then more people will get killed because they won't stop the dangerous psychotropic. They're in the hallucinogen class. The drug insert says they are a hallucinogen. Go ahead, finish up.
Okay, I'll just make this brief in conclusion to this. I said some inappropriate things that I would say in a public place. As a matter of fact, it was at a church. It was a church function. I said some inappropriate things, and this young lady that came out, I mean, she wasn't a dainty person. She was kind of a tomboy, kind of a tough person herself anyway. And she approached me and confronted me about my comments and so on and so forth. And, you know, she just got me. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, I just hauled off, took two hands, and just shoved her to the ground.
I hear you. God bless you. Look. The federal government spent millions studying this. You can look it up. Shrimp on Prozac commit suicide. Birds on Prozac. That's the main generic, original Eli Lilly production. I mean, look it up. You give it to not just mammals. You can give it to lizards, and they start committing suicide. And by that, they'll just walk right up to their predator. Look it up. Shrimp commit suicide on Prozac. It takes your instinct of survival and compulsion. You don't have compulsion control. Like, if I ever had a thought to kill somebody, which we've all had those thoughts, at least I would imagine you have. You ever had the thought of, instantly, I'm about to, punch that person in the nose, and you control yourself? When you're on these drugs, you don't. Oh, there's a cop? I'll just go ahead and just shoot him right in the neck. All right, we've got a big counteroffensive against the globalists we're going to be launching here in about T-minus 8 minutes. Trying to get Obama impeached. The article will be up in about 30 minutes at Infowars.com by Kurt Nimmo, breaking down the admitted high crimes and misdemeanors. And then we'll add a video that we're going to premiere here to YouTube after we premiere it here on the radio/TV, blasting out here today. And again, I rant and rave and get angry because I'm sick of this. I mean, I am tired of every 2 or 3 days seeing articles where they're taking people's children who don't give their children vaccines and calling it neglect when it's illegal to do that. And it freaks me out to know the government is that lawless and that evil. And to read about some poor chicken farmer, the city wanted to take his land for an environmental preserve, so they killed him. The police went in and the house blew up, and they're telling people that he blew himself up. And my gut is they probably deep sixed him. And I've got that report that makes me absolutely want to just